was the very first graduate student, which is really nice. She is a very good person.
I'm excited to meet her.
Ask me to reconnect with the.
Okay.
It was the guest one that it should be,
Yeah.
right? The Middleton Public, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We need some people.
Do we need 5 or 6?
Let's see, there's, oh, maybe
You
4, 2, we've got 4. Let me check how many people are on. The committee. Oh, we do have a quorum. There's 7. Ready to start?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay, well, I will call the meeting to order. And let me get my agenda up. Went away. So roll call.
All right, David Lorman is not here. Eric Pollock,
Is here.
Jim Gurn is not here. Susan West,
I am here.
Tom Bernthal is not here.
Not
Nathan
here, yeah.
and Mary. And Jim is on Zoom. Jim, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, so we've got 5 then. That's good. Okay. And my pad keeps doing different things. Okay, so does anybody have comments on the minutes from July 23rd? Any changes? No. Well, then I will accept the minutes. And the first item is the Hines Woodland Trail. So Kevin, you want to explain that?
I'll go through that for tonight. Just a little bit of the background here, and I'm just gonna kind of read straight from the memo that we posted in regards to the Hines Woodland Trail, and then Kevin's gonna help go through maps so we know like what we're talking about, exactly where. Just to give a little bit of background, we have an easement on the north and west edges of the Middleton Shores property, which accommodates the Hines Woodland Trail. So Kevin's showing the easement right now document, and that's been in place. The easement was signed in 2009.
Yeah.
At that time of approval, the easement provided the needed pedestrian connection from Pheasant Branch Conservancy to Century Avenue and Allen Boulevard. However, with the construction of the North Mendota Path, this connection is no longer necessary from the staff's perspective, and the Hines Woodland Trail is in poor condition, washed out in several areas, significantly narrowed, and with surface conditions that present a lot of safety concerns. To bring the trail up to acceptable standards, a full reconstruction would be necessary, including proper grading and surface replacement and drainage improvements. The cost of such reconstruction is substantial, and I don't have a full measurement on that section That would have been good to get, on the length of the trail segment. And then, but given that we now have the North Mendota Pass, so that's in highlighted.
Yeah, show us where that is.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll kind of go
So,
through that.
yeah, the North Mendota path is on the north side of Century Avenue.
It's in the,
Basically from, the city boundary to the north, all the way to Branch Street.
in the Middleton Shores property, can you just circle that? That's this site right there. And,
Hey, excuse me, I can hear you all, but I can't see the Kevin's screen.
yeah, it's just. So I'll just kind of read a few more notes here on the, on our findings here, but so the North Mendota, path now provides essential, neighborhood and conservancy trail connection. The Hines Trail functions only as a redundant route. This is the only location in the community where a trail, borders, the entirety of a development or a property. And maintaining this redundancy is not good use of limited resources. Our trail system as a whole faces significant, significant deferred maintenance needs, with the funding gap growing larger each year with the additional trails that we've been installing. We just continue to see a larger infrastructure of trails, which then has to go on our maintenance program. And releasing this easement would allow us to redirect maintenance efforts and resources towards, trails that are needed or necessary and more heavily used and a greater benefit to the community, such as, the North Fork Trail that runs from the Creek Corridor, the new section that was done to Fireman's, Memorial Park. That's a big segment that we've seen or has high use and is in large need of repair. We have boardwalks, Graver, that one's been on the agenda. We have a lot of needed trail maintenance, and we're currently working on an asset inventory and a rating of all of the, trail system right now to kind of identify and show all the needs in the community. We don't have that prepared for you tonight, but just kind of showing on the map here that redundant trail, and we're looking for a recommendation from you all tonight on releasing the current easement that we have with Middleton Shores for that Hines Woodland Trail, so it wouldn't be a public trail. They could still maintain it privately if they wanted to, but it wouldn't be under our like our trail system inventory. So there's a lot of lines in that on the map, but just trying to kind of.
Yeah, what are those yellow
Sure.
lines?
The parcel, those are the parcel lines, so all the yellow lines.
Condominiums.
Yeah, so basically what we're talking about is, this parcel here and Jim, can you see now on my screen?
No, I can see you all, but I can't see the screen.
I don't know if this was.
Post isn't a line.
And I don't know if this is
That
what.
means.
Who is the host of the meeting?
You the host?
But there's two Kevins on there, so maybe like logged in.
I logged into there and here,
Huh.
and I don't know why it didn't.
Is that confusing it?
Just recreate the meeting, maybe.
Yeah, oh, there we go.
Here we go. There we go. Thank you so much, Kevin.
There we go. All
Thank
right.
you, Kevin. That was
Okay,
IT stuff.
so this parcel here is the Middleton Shores parcel. The area highlighted in the kind of light orange is the easement. So it's this triangle back here, and then it's the area under this green line all the way to Allen Court.
Okay,
So-
I have a question, Kevin. Up there at the corner
Yeah.
where the green line stops before.
Yep.
Because I went down there today and looked, and there's a trail that goes down to a boardwalk.
There's Marina Court
Yeah,
that ends
right there.
here,
Okay.
and then a trail goes down to the.
Yeah,
the
okay,
boardwalk.
that's
Yep.
what I was seeing.
And that's,
So that we're gonna be keeping.
That's our on city
Yep, so-
property for sure. Yep.
What
Okay.
we're talking about here is simply the green line.
That
Is
goes
the
to
path
Marina
that goes from Allen Court to Marina Court.
Okay,
And what we're requesting for release is the area shaded in orange. So it's this triangle and the pathway easement behind Middleton Shores complex.
that
So-
is perfectly reasonable because it's really sort of wetlands up in that area. So going into it would be difficult for the people, but since they can go from Marina Court to that boardwalk to get into the Conservancy, all of the people there have access.
To the Conservancy.
Yeah.
Yes.
and nothing would happen to the orange part.
The orange part is.
We don't own.
We don't own it, but it is on, we only have the easements. The easement document is that whole orange section. And it's only for us to be able to utilize it and maintain a trail. So it's not for us to like use it in any other fashion except for to maintain and have it for public use for a trail.
The owner of Middleton Shores, I remember proving this a long time ago. She's a very good owner in terms of wanting to do things for her residents, and most of them are lower income. And she wanted them to be able to get into the Conservancy and ask us to put that in.
So they wouldn't like turn that area into something else.
It's not buildable. It's a plan.
That area would, I mean, if they were looking to build anything.
I think they would have
there.
done it already.
Yeah, I mean, it really,
Yeah, there's not.
where they're building now, the water table is so high. That's an issue for that right there on Allen Boulevard. And going further back, it's probably standing water back there.
I mean, I think for the reasons that Kylie you identified, like this seems low priority to retain it, maintain it, and there's so many other projects where it makes more sense to focus on. I think releasing this makes sense.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it's not serving a huge number of people, even with the addition of that new apartment complex. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
I can second it.
Okay.
Eric? Oh, Mary.
Mary. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No one? Okay, so motion carried.
And this will just have to go, or this is gonna be going to Ped Bike Transit for review.
Okay.
And then Common Council.
Okay. Keep getting dumped out. Confluence Pond. North Fork and South Fork Ecological Assessment and Vegetation Management Plan. Okay,
Yeah, so this, in our 2025 Conservancy Lands Plan, it recommends that each conservancy have a dedicated management plan. And specifies that each plan should have a minimal lifespan of 10 years, no longer than 25. And this would guide restoration activities on that particular property. So this is a project that was approved during the 2024 budget process, a management plan for the Confluence Pond Conservancy, the North Fork Conservancy, and the South Fork Conservancy. What I'd like to show you here and get your comments and feedback on is the scope of services document, which is right here. I'm going to start at the bottom with the map, so you have an idea of where this is. So on the east side here is Parmenter Street, and the highway. You have the creek corridor coming in, and you have, this Conservancy here, which is Confluence Pond. You have the North Fork of the Pheasant Branch Creek, and you have the South Fork of the Pheasant Branch Creek. So this is a relative area, that we're talking about. So this document would be scope of services document, so it's going to guide what we're looking for in the plan. So here's where I'm asking for your comments and feedback. This is what we'll put out to a consultant for the skeleton of what we want to get back in the way of a plan. So I have an outline here, and we can go through things, and you're welcome to comment on you see here. First one here, project management, fairly simple, coordinate efforts with the project team in the city and facilitate meetings with city staff. So those meetings are then defined here. A meeting with the Conservancy Lands Committee, this committee, after the first draft is completed. And that would allow this committee a chance to discuss that draft and to give feedback that would be incorporated into a final plan. Because this area is jointly managed with the Stormwater Utility, Water Resources Management Commission would have a meeting of the in a similar fashion to discuss the first draft and give feedback. And because we're looking north of Airport Road into the airport property, we would want to involve the Airport Commission. We don't have David Lorman here tonight. I was hoping for his feedback on this particular aspect of the plan.
Kevin, I can maybe answer a little bit of that. I've certainly worked with Rich Morey on who maintains parts of that through the stormwater utility. The North Fork goes right through the airport.
Yeah. And then once that feedback is compiled into a revised plan, a joint meeting of those three committees and commissions to present the final draft. Development and updating the goals and objectives for these three conservancies: vegetation management. We'd like to include city staff, representatives of the Park and Recreation Department, planning staff, the stormwater utility staff, and then any airport staff that might be necessary for that. And then involving the committees and commissions in that process of developing goals, representation from each of those committees to the consultant. So that might mean a member or two from each of the committees or commissions meeting with consultants along the way. So it would be a full meeting of this committee to update the goals. And then number 4, updating the Conservancy's management context, reviewing any relevant plans or reports published after the 2005 plan. So we have plans from biologic ecological services from 2005 for the North Fork and for the Confluence Pond. These would essentially look to update those plans. No similar plan exists for the South Fork at this point. So update any new developments since those plans, and then review the stormwater utilities 10-year capital improvements plan. This is a document that the stormwater utility uses as basically an outline for what projects that they would be interested in doing in the next 10-year period. Several of which are going to fall in these 3 conservancies. Using the map that was created for the 2025 Conservancy Lands Plan and updating that with any new information. So the information that we're looking for in these maps would be delineation of the airport property in a recommended fashion to create one of our native vegetation management areas. Including the units and sub-units of vegetation management that make sense. Maps of potential prescribed burn units, stormwater easements, any locations of sewer outfalls or stormwater features. And surrounding existing proposed developments, trails and roads. Those would all be then provided as GIS files to the city. So the vegetation and wildlife management portion, Adaptive Restoration did a survey of vegetation in June for these three conservancies and has time in their schedule to do a September vegetation survey. So we're looking for a list of any invasive species found there and then management techniques for those each. Calendar mowing time for invasive species discovered. And then for the units that I have listed here, so Confluence Pond Conservancy, North Fork, South Fork, the Middleton Native Vegetation Management Area, Airport Prairie, Penny Klein Park, Native Vegetation Management Area, the Dog Park, the Hidden Oaks Path, which goes from Confluence Pond to Pleasant View Road, any stormwater easements, and the material storage yard that the streets department and stormwater utility uses. Having a desired future condition statement for those and specific recommendations for each of those. Again, because this is a stormwater utility and serves a function there, is kind of documenting and understanding that function and how it relates to the interfacing vegetation. Looking at that stormwater utility capital improvement plan and making any recommendations in that might minimize the disturbance from those activities. So that would be something like dredging of a pond. Hello, David. Welcome.
Hi.
And then a description of observed and potential wildlife and the impacts on the vegetation of those potential wildlife. So that could be ground nesting birds or aquatic mammals, that sort of thing. So then delivering of a draft plan in bookmarked PDF format to the three committees and commissions listed above, and incorporating feedback from those committees and commissions into a final plan. That would include executive summary, intro, background, the assessment of current conditions, management recommendations, an implementation schedule, and estimated costs for those. I've got a proposed schedule here. We already had, as I said, the vegetation surveys complete from June. We've got another one scheduled for September. And going from there, we're looking at moving this along in such a fashion that this committee would see a first draft in December, have the ability to comment on it at a January meeting. And then I'd ask for a final plan approval in February with recommendation to Common Council for approval. So I welcome any feedback or comments on this document.
Any comments? David, do you have anything about the airport? Other than the North Fork goes right through it?
This is water discussion for the airport.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, this is a scope of services document for ecological assessment, vegetation
Conservancy.
management plan for Confluence Pond, North Fork of Pheasant Branch, and the
Yeah, so what's come out of the airport discussion historically is, the airport obviously is responsible for maintaining the land up to the bank. But as far as the
yeah,
waterways, we've historically have continued to maintain that those are navigable, managed waterways and not under the airport's purview or
yeah,
managed.
CLC's been. I met
So
Mark Sullivan and I met with Rich over that, yeah. The airport takes care of under the runway,
That's it.
and CLC was doing the rest of the
Yep.
management.
Yeah.
And they had goats in there in the wooded steep area.
Yeah, and right now with the funding proposal that the airport has in front of the Bureau of Aeronautics is covering some water studies in the area. But this is more in relationship to just a requirement for some modifications that are going to be done to some movement areas. So
Mhm.
I don't see any impact at this particular point that it's.
Yeah. And actually, the Conservancy would taking care of any of the areas where the runway is, because that needs to be regular grass, short stuff.
Yeah, the areas around the runway are already maintained to
Yeah.
a specific standard.
This is-
Basically, everything inside the perimeter of the fence of the airport should theoretically be kept as low and short as possible. So,
There's an area on that southwest side that
yep, marshland.
marshland that's real
Yeah,
steep,
yeah,
and so that's where we use the goats,
Yep, we tried using goats.
because it was too steep for people.
Yeah, so the current management is they wait till basically winter without snow when things thaw, and then they go out there with the brush management equipment and cut things down.
And this would not be an area that where you could go in and burn.
Never in my short time being involved in this have they done burning at the airport.
Yeah, I could see it being a problem.
Yeah, there may be some reasons. Maybe getting too close
To,
and solar farm and various things like that. Plus, you also have the airport has a contract with the local farmer who does I shouldn't say a contract, an agreement,
agreement, yeah.
which is very nice because then he does the hay management. So basically, where it's not too wet, the hay is grown and managed, and where it's very wet, it's only seasonal maintenance by the airport. It's a challenge. So I'm sorry I've jumped right into the.
Yeah, Kevin, I just want to say that this looks like a really thoughtful plan that's been put together very carefully and looks really good, I think.
We had it at Water Resources last Wednesday.
Yes.
And their feedback and comments were incorporated into this document. So David, the airport commission appears in here as a having a meeting to discuss the submission of the first draft of this, and then being involved in a joint meeting with the CLC, the Water Resources Management, and the Airport Commission. Does that seem in line with what you know of that commission?
I think that would be quite reasonable to get the commission's feedback on it. I think probably what's most important is if there's any question or doubt about, what space the airport is absolutely responsible for, then we just bring in Mead and Hunt and our local representative with the Bureau of Aeronautics. Because what they'll do is they'll just pull up the schematics and plans, and they'll say, this is what we cover, this is what we don't cover.
Yeah.
In terms of money that can be used with the grant assurances. So they're pretty clear about that. So where the funding is available and where the funding simply isn't, kind of drawing a line. So I think obviously reasonable planning, we can have a commission meeting and just bring the appropriate people in to weigh in on it.
Yeah, I see less problems with the airport
Yeah.
and combining this with water resources, because when did conserving public lands get brought into maintaining this land? Because it used to be under Public Works with all the stormwater features. It's been somewhere in the last couple of years.
The three conservancies?
Yeah.
I think their
Bringing in
designation as a
confluence.
conservancy puts puts
When
the
was
vegetation
that
in.
done?
That's a question that predates me.
Okay. It, I think was after I was on council, which most 3.5 years.
Yeah, and I haven't,
So I see the issue as who finances what aspect of whatever. The public lands in the past taking care of everything and the mowing and maintenance, and now it sounds like public works doing it, and now it'll be public lands.
Well, I would say it's a combined effort for sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that it could be managed by one department on their own. I think.
no,
the
I
fact
agree
that
with
it's,
you on that.
I can only speak from, getting involved in 2019, historically, when I started understanding and keeping track of that aspect of airport management.
Yeah, that's for the airport and
Oh.
yes, just staff gets to sort out the financial issues. That's where I see. Because clearly this department won't be doing dredging or anything, but managing the land around it.
Exactly, yep, and I think this plan will help with some of that
Yeah.
recommendations and delineation of responsibility or duties.
We need that, and getting this in good native plants is going to help on the stormwater management tremendously.
I think they work hand in hand.
Yeah,
So,
they're truly inseparable. One of the things, all of these native grasses, most of them have roots that go down like 12 feet. So anything planted around the areas, you're going to get good infiltration of water before it goes even into the ponds.
So is there anything you see missing from this? Anything you'd like
No.
to see changed, augmented?
It's a very good plan.
Wonderful.
Sorry for jumping in late here at the end.
No, that's quite all right. It's
Had
glad you're here.
engagement that overflowed.
Okay, we don't need to actually do anything.
I don't
do we?
need a motion on here, just guidance from the committee on anything that needs to be put in here. If you're comfortable with this document, I'm gonna move forward at a staff level to start this
Kevin,
this process in motion here.
the only thing I would say, since Adaptive has been putting in data and information on city budgeting and so on, work with the public works staff and see if anything like that needs to go in this document.
I'm sorry, I'm not following you.
Okay. In the last comprehensive plans, we've had information about city finances and how much is being spent by the city for the work. And since this is dealing with two different departments, that maybe that needs to be clearly spelled out.
Yeah, I would agree.
So that might be something that should go into this. And then when it gets to council, it's not so confusing. And you don't have to explain it as much.
Perfect, thank you.
By the time it comes
What?
finance personnel and the common council, we
Yeah, here.
expect that everybody did their diligence, so we're not gonna pick it apart too much, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So someone else, like someone else reviews them and it comes back to us and or it's just out.
No, the way it works is we recommend to finance and council spending X amount of money, and then
Okay,
finance, it's the first bad at it, and then it goes to council.
okay,
City staff does all the hard work up front. And I would say 97% of the time, by the time it gets, to common council, there isn't,
Not a big problem.
yeah,
there really isn't a lot that we go through. We ask questions and we do things like that, but bottom line is it's some unforeseen circumstance that would be call it competing from the city standpoint, then things usually make it.
Yeah. And I think the big thing is this is two different departments within the city now
yeah.
taking over this area with different responsibilities too.
Yeah.
That's actually a good thing. I mean, it's an evolving thing.
Yeah.
Able to say, okay, you know, this falls under stormwater resource management, because previously it really was underfunded.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Stormwater was almost an afterthought.
yes.
As pointed out here, from an ecological standpoint, we learn ways to manage things that we didn't know about before, especially the runoff aspect.
Mhm.
Before it was like, oh, I'll just run somewhere and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is maintenance of appropriate vegetation. I mean, we were lucky for the flood when, I don't know if you remember, but out by Costco, the South Fork coming in was full of willows. I think the year before we cleared those out.
Mhm.
If that had not gotten cleared out, that whole area would have been an even worse disaster. And if you guys lived here then, it was Costco flooded in an hour or so. So I hate to think what Costco would, it would have been gone. So, but having both with expertise and, you know, stormwater, getting water through areas and us managing vegetation appropriately is really.
And during that large event, the airport actually served as a place where a lot of water went and
Yes.
didn't create really,
It helped tremendously.
yeah, a lot of problems. I mean, the airport
We had had all of the North Fork coming down.
recovered quite well from it.
It would have been even worse. So, okay, let's move
Shall we move
on
on?
to Graver Pond.
Yeah, so the Graver Pond Conservancy master plan. This is something that we've seen the initial recommendation to start the plan in June of 2024, and first citing the draft was in June of this meeting. We got to see it in July, and you got it here before you. And this is basically a chance to provide any comments and feedback that you'd like to see incorporated into the final draft. So where would you like to start?
Yeah, does anybody have comments? Kevin, I've seen it multiple times.
Mhm.
I think it's a good plan. And don't really have a whole lot to say. The one thing I will say from Water Resources, they had a concern on, I don't remember exactly which page, but it was talking about trying to acquire the entire portions of the entire watershed area, if available. And I think the important thing is the if available is in there, because we had a long discussion. There really wasn't any land available to acquire.
Yeah, basically that discussion revolved around the
You were there.
recommendation section. Looking at recommendation 1.
Yes,
Protecting water quality within and outside of Graver Pond Conservancy. And it essentially the language of this this first statement here, if and where feasible, expand the boundaries of the conservancy to the boundary of the watershed. And in theory, yeah, that's something that if you're able to expand the boundaries of the conservancy to the boundary of the watershed, that would in fact protect water quality. But I think a lot of the comments that we heard at Water Resources in particular was basically that the here, let me kind of read off some of this stuff.
there really isn't a whole lot of land around it
Yeah,
that we could acquire.
It's a matter of that there's not the kind of the showing where this is feasible. This goal is kind of aspirational, lofty, aggressive. Can we focus more within the municipal boundary refine the recommendation to include specific areas. I think targeting in on the new developments, Bell Farms, Pheasant Crossing, looking into the future land use map for guidance. So a lot of, is this feasible or at all even possible at that time? That was the major
Right.
things that I heard about.
I think some of the
that.
concern is probably the area to the east where it outflows from Graver Pond, and goes over to the Conservancy.
Yeah, so there was even
that's-
some question on as to the consultants used a older watershed map in here. They've used a newer one on another occasion here, but showing that watershed map. I've got two screens, sorry. So you can see the highway going through here, and it's some of the areas that's outside of even the municipal boundary that we're talking about.
Yeah, and we've also diverted water from west of the belt line to go straight down to Pheasant Branch Creek. Whereas it used to go over to Graver Pond.
Yeah, so if you have other thoughts on that recommendation or any of the rest of the number one, water resources, looked at the kind of the definition of what point stormwater inputs are, looked at the size of the buffer, and again, it kind of questioned what's feasible in the scope of the current developments. So that's kind of where we left that recommendation
Yeah.
number one. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I don't, considering what's out there. The other thing for this committee is the Bell Farm development's going to have stormwater retention ponds up on the hill, which will be a big help.
I don't have anything to add. I attended the meeting or the presentation that
Oh,
was
right.
done for this last month. Is that last month? Yeah.
It was in July, yeah.
Oh,
July.
It's flown by, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I think everything seems really thoughtful and people have provided good feedback, so trusting the experts, I think it makes
Excellent.
good points.
Yeah, I have comments from staff, both from internal Park and Rec staff, comments from planning and from stormwater utility. We have comments from water resources and from pet bike transit. And we have a document from the Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy Watershed Committee. And all that, as well as open public comment form. So all that'll go into a revision that you'll see in a month, I hope.
Oh, the other thing that I would say, and this is from experience on the boardwalk in Middleton Hills.
Mhm.
Keeping boardwalk there really keeps residents happy. That turned into a major disaster when it was proposed to take out the boardwalk in Middleton Hills.
So Kevin, the land that's just to the east and then west and north a little bit, is that eventually going to be developed as well? Is that private land that we anticipate will be developed?
Yes,
Yeah, I think with the development of Bell Farms, with Red Tail, and with Pheasant Crossing, the pond will be completely surrounded by development.
Okay.
are you familiar with those three developments?
It seems critical that if the development is going to continue to march along and that pond doesn't have an outlet, right? I mean, at least I don't see an outlet there, that adequate drainage, we don't want that to be where all the drainage ends up, 'cause it's not going to hold all that.
There's an outlet in existence now when it gets high enough that it will overflow. And it goes east and between the High Road and Pheasant Branch Road to the Conservancy. So it's already in existence. Do you have
And
a map
there's-
of that?
Is that the yellow by the paths? Does it go along those paths or where does it go? That's been carefully considered. I'm not a water engineer.
Yeah. It has been considered, and it's been there for a long time. And actually, during the flood, the damage that occurred in Misty Valley was because the storm sewer storm sewer under a road was clogged up after it got out of Graber Pond. And that's why water got into a few houses there. So we've got to keep that clear.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of discussion about the hydrology section here and how that relates to the Graber Pond outflow into the Misty Valley stormwater system, and then eventually into water that's going to flow into the Pheasant Branch Conservancy.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of the comments from the Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy, as well as from the Water Resources Management Commission.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
You don't need anything
No,
done.
right now, I'll consolidate any feedback we have, give that to the consultant, and hope to see a revision in a month. So again, that's feedback from staff, planning, park and rec, stormwater utility, comments from public, from Head Bike Transit, from Water Resources, and from Friends of Pheasant Branch Conservancy. So I
Okay,
think that's all I need to move on this one.
then we're on to block units
Yeah.
master plan.
And just to put the Bach plan in perspective, I would say this plan is about a month behind in the process of where Graber is. So I basically put it on this agenda tonight as a reminder that it's there. If you haven't had a chance to go through it and put down any comments, I'll put this back on the agenda in 1 month's time. And really look for anything that you want to see put into the final draft. So
I like that idea.
So-
That gives us plenty of time to actually carefully read.
the plans
A big, long
yeah, it's in
document.
your packet. It's up on the city website. So if you have anything today, I'm happy to take that. But basically, it's a 1 month reminder to brush up on that one. So anything?
I did find one thing in there I really liked, which was
Sure. What was
getting
that?
citizens involved in helping restore especially the woodlands and providing plants and so on. I think that maybe could be expanded a little bit as a policy of maybe, what I've wondered about is, say, a list of plants that would be appropriate that people could work on providing as donations.
Perfect.
And I have a whole lot of Jacob's ladder that I pull up as weeds that could go in there.
There you go.
So I would like for them to go someplace other than the compost dump.
And I really haven't had much input from constituents, especially along the, I guess it's really a prairie restoration section that's in progress right now. Used to be the hayfield.
Is Bach Community Forest within your district?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only comments I ever had from constituents regarding the prairie was, and obviously that's a matter of education, is when there was a lot of wild, undesirable growth there, it provided their backyards with windbreak.
Oh,
Right.
and they're disappointed the windbreak's gone.
Right. And, they were very reasonable. I explained that. I said, well, a prairie is open.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way it's going to be. I'm
If you
sorry.
live on the east side of Bach Community Forest, and you're looking northwest, you have an incredible view of
That's right.
Yeah,
of a prairie that extends from
Yeah.
Highland Avenue all the way north, and you have a wonderful view of Fredericks Hill. It's
So that's what I mean. It's kind of like,
yeah,
It-
how
kinda
can
like-
they complain?
yeah, and so, you got to be a politician. I mean, you just,
Yeah.
and so you have to, and so I understood. I mean, I get it. And the thing is, you can always put a fence up in your backyard
Yeah,
just as a windbreak to keep the toys and stuff from blowing away. But right, it's a beautiful area.
brings up one thing though that I forgot is emphasis
We
on
might see some.
deer culling. Because we've got so many deer coming into residential areas.
And a
And I know
bear.
the city used to do that recently.
That's a recommendation that comes out of the 2025 Conservancy Lands Plan as a high priority recommendation to start up that program. And in your 2026 budget request, you
I saw that in
as
there.
I don't remember the priority, but it was in there. So
Yeah,
It was,
I've got to admit, I have deer eating the lettuce out of my raised vegetable beds that are 3 feet high on a driveway that are coming over from
they don't have to
the
bend down.
Conservancy. I mean, they don't even have to bend down. They just stand there and nibble.
I don't
So,
remember who educated us on this. I thought maybe deer calling was a simple process, but it's complicated,
yeah,
challenging to get people
It's
to
close.
actually do it, right?
it's close to Conservancy. Hire somebody to come in and sit in a tree at night with probably corn or something to attract the deer to come.
Yeah,
To
I
that
don't know if
one
it's
area.
simple, and it's certainly controversial.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy the deer. I don't know, when I go for walks, I enjoy seeing them.
The other thing I will say is a former microbiology professor, overpopulation of deer results in chronic wasting disease.
Yeah, I mean,
Which
obviously,
is a major, deer
problem.
culling is good for the health of the deer.
Yeah, it is.
So
Well,
Hunters would wanna.
let's get some, let's
Enjoy
get some
that.
wolves.
wolves would be fine, coyotes would be
All right,
fine.
anything left on Bach?
No,
All right, let's move on to our liaison reports.
okay.
Erica,
I missed the last one. I think just updating. Transports.
Yeah, that one doesn't really relate to this committee so much. I don't think, the only thing was the corp plan that
Yeah.
relates more to this committee is the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. That's the big one for parks, that will be executed up until midsummer next year, and so that we'll have some crossover, and it'll come back to
So we'll
CLC
see
for review in that during one of the first drafts of the plan. But it's more to do with recreation trails and such, that's relatable to Conservancy lands. So that was approved with architecture planning to move forward with them as our consultant. So that will get
we have anything to pre-seed, or is that all?
That, well, yeah, pre-seed. So pre-seed, that is relatable to Conservancy.
Just the boundaries,
Yeah,
Conservancy.
so that, that's been approved to move forward with, for construction of the Priest Park shelter. And that one, we don't have a, hard start date. It can start anytime after September 2nd. But that'll provide restrooms, heated year-round restrooms to the Conservancy trail users, which is a huge deal since we don't have a lot of restrooms throughout that corridor. And something we've kind of toyed with is a trail connection. You can walk around to Precinct from Precinct Park on the sidewalk up into the but there's kind of a unmaintained trail in the back of the hillside, and that's something we've been kind of discussing of making more connective or more of a connection to the restrooms.
That would
But
be good.
that's at an expense for sure. So we're trying to figure out kind of that a little bit more and our trail system. But yeah, a Priest Park shelter is shelter.
And water resources, we discussed the Graver Pond Master Plan. So I think we sort of covered that. And Public Works, Mary.
So there have been 2 meetings since our last meeting together here. I did not attend the one that was just this past Monday, though it was mostly just updates about all the construction projects at kind of the end of the season. The one on the 11th of August talked about water utility, which isn't directly related to here. And then we had a kind of a section talking about leaf and brush collection, just going over numbers, comparing year over year stuff. Nothing, it was a discussion, but I know when it comes to maintaining clean waterways and making sure that leaves are not getting into the sewers and stuff, something that is relevant, but nothing to report back to beyond that. It's just an item of discussion.
Okay, future agenda items. Committee members can suggest future items by sending me an email. And I'll then,
Yeah, if you have
Kevin?
anything that you want to see on the agenda, communicate with the chair and we'll work together to get that on the agenda. That's all we have.
then we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, folks.
Good
Thanks,
night, Jim.
thanks, Jim.
Good night.
What kind of bear did you see?
I didn't see it,
You heard it?
just bear poop. Kevin knows all about it.
Interesting.
He got pictures.
Pictures of what?
Bear poop.
Where?
Bear
Where?
poop. Oh, in my neighbor's backyard.